Here's what SpongeBob's house looked like in 1999.
SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
And here's what SpongeBob's house looks like in 2074. SpongeBob has lived in a pineapple under the sea for a long time, but what's the actual story behind his famous hunk of fruit? The ups, the downs, and everything in between. Well, today, I'm going to be coming through the entire timeline of SpongeBob's house to find out. Starting all the way back in 1999 with the episode Home Sweet Pineapple. When your house is under the sea, you gotta deal with a whole bunch of problems. Not just dampness. There's all sorts of critters that can get in your house and cause a bunch of trouble, and the first time we see SpongeBob's house get a real big shake-up is thanks to a bunch of pesky nematodes.
Oh, dang, nematodes.
Think of them as super termites, and after that snack, they're on the lookout for a big old drink. Well, it's a good thing there's a juicy pineapple for them nearby.
Wait a minute.
And those nematodes sure are thirsty. I mean, look how the pineapple is shrinking. Once they've started, they're impossible to stop, and SpongeBob's pineapple's about to be reduced to nothing.
Oh, nematodes.
The only thing SpongeBob has left of his home is a little pebble that he decides to keep as a keepsake for all of his memories in the pineapple. Squidward takes the news pretty badly, especially as this means Sponge will have to move houses.
Bo-ho, bo-ho, bo. Bo-ho.
Squid's taking it real hard.
Just as SpongeBob thinks he's gonna have to move back in with his mom and dad, Patrick offers to help him build a new house from scratch. I mean, there's nothing like a bit of elbow grease, but they don't exactly understand how a big house is to be built.
We're done!
Yeah. So, what do you think?
I wish I lived there.
Really?
No.
Geez, Pat, you didn't have to rub it in. Despite the small house setback, Pat does step up and offer Sponge a room at his rock. But things aren't so homely over at Pat's house. He snores. He drools. And he has night terrors over spiders.
Spiders! Get them off me! Get them off me! Get them off me!
Wake up! It's me!
Seeing as Patrick's house is no good, SpongeBob tries his luck at Squiddy's house, and you know what? He's way more welcoming, actually.
Squidward?
Oh, wow.
Squidward, could we stay here a couple of days or a month or two?
Oh, yeah, well, whatever.
Thanks.
But that's just sleep drunk Squiddy talk, and when he realizes what he's done, he quickly puts things right.
Alright, SpongeBob. Good night, SpongeBob.
With no other options left, SpongeBob has to move back in with his mom and dad, so they come the next morning to pick up his stuff. But as SpongeBob's about to leave, he decides to bury his pebble as a bookend on his pineapple-y chapter.
You hold too many memories.
I guess by now you're all thinking that pebble looks suspiciously like a seed. Well, that's because it is a pineapple seed, and SpongeBob's tears have kickstarted it growing. I'm not sure why I needed tears as a water source when it's literally in the ocean, but then again, I am watching a talking sponge living in a pineapple, so anyway. Well, after SpongeBob doesn't leave the neighborhood, Squidward realizes he's the one who's gonna have to move out in the episode opposite day, and it leads to the next big moment on the timeline of SpongeBob's house. The straw that breaks the camel's back for Squidward is this surprise party SpongeBob and Pat throw for his birthday, which isn't on his birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Squidward! Yeah! So awesome! I don't do anything I would do.
Another year older.
It's not my birthday!
So he puts his house up for sale and books an estate agent to help sell it. Only problem is she's got to come to the house, which means SpongeBob and Patrick. So to keep his plan going, Squidward tells the boys it's opposite day, meaning they got to act nothing like themselves.
Meow.
Yeah.
As always, the boys take things a little too far, and when SpongeBob decides to clean his house, they end up wrecking the joint.
Goodbye!
Squidward can't afford the state agent to see SpongeBob's dismantled house, so he tidied things up and puts in the work to make it good as new.
SpongeBob!
After seeing Squid fix his house, SpongeBob realizes that the whole point of Opposite Day is to be the opposite of yourself, which in their case would be by becoming Squidward.
Hey, I want to be opposite too. Yeah, finally.
And that doesn't go down well with the estate agent.
He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward! Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
Well, yeah, there is one.
Meow.
I'm out of here.
The estate agent refuses to sell Squid's house, so he's stuck yet again being the unlucky neighbor of SpongeBob and Patrick, which is a little sad considering he was kind enough to fix SpongeBob's pineapple up. But then again, if he didn't invent the Opposite Day stuff, then none of this would have happened. If the estate agent wasn't happy with 3 Squidwards, I doubt that she'd take kindly to a gigantic worm slithering through the neighborhood. Which is exactly what happens in the episode SpongeBob, Sandy, and the Worm. And you better believe this thing is hangry, which can only mean one thing: it's time for some pineapple chunks. With something so sinister and crazy in town, it's only right that a lot of folk are scared, so a town meeting is called to figure out what to do. And Patrick, of all people, has a few ideas on how to deal with the worm.
Teeny bottom and push it somewhere else.
That idea may just be crazy enough to get us all killed!
They end up settling on the idea that Sandy will go and track the worm down and give it hell, especially because things are personal between her and that varmint.
Let's get someone to go after it. There ain't no one fool enough to take on an Alaskan bullworm.
Sandy hasn't seen how big the worm is, though, and SpongeBob has. He begs her not to go after something so dangerous, but she does not listen, so instead he follows her to find the worm in a strange cave.
El Nab and Varmint! I'm winning, SpongeBob!
Well, it turns out that the thing she thinks is the worm is a tongue, and that strange cave she's gone into is its mouth. The only chance they've got of saving Bikini Bottom is having the worm fall off into an abyss, and they managed to make that happen. Only problem is, they've listened to Patrick.
Push. Ouch.
So I guess that's what's left of SpongeBob's pineapple being totally crushed. Well, it's better than the time SpongeBob's house was burnt to a crisp thanks to a Krabby Patty. As you know, Plankton loves trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. But for the month, he hasn't tried to get as many mitts on it. Mr. Krabs is obviously suspicious, so he gives SpongeBob and Patrick the job of spying on Plankton.
Hey, SpongeBob, I can see you through this straw.
For the exact instructions, Krabs gives them a Krabby Patty that has a message recorded inside it.
If you choose to accept it, is to discover what Plankton's up to. Don't let him out of your sight.
And like all good secret recorded spy messages, the Krabby Patty is set to self-destruct.
Get rid of it, Patrick!
That's gonna leave a mark.
SpongeBob's pineapple gets a nice char thanks to the Krabby Patty, but at least the boys now know what they gotta do and start tracking the tiny terror down.
Plankton just bought some baby clothes.
Baby clothes? What's he doing now?
Hold on. He's buying...
Yeah?
Damn.
With no real answers, the boys decide that they're gonna have to break into the chum bucket to get to the bottom of Plankton's dastardly scheme. I'm not sure what he could be up to that involves baby clothes and a stamp, though.
I thought you were holding the rope.
I am!
The boys aren't exactly seasoned spies, and Plankton knows something strange is going on, so he confronts them, but maybe not exactly in the way you'd be thinking.
Don't you think I know what you're up to? You want to eat at the chum bucket without your boss knowing. Karen, we've got a customer!
While behind enemy lines, Sponge and Pat have to keep calm so as to not make Plankton suspicious, but Pat's laser weapon has a mind of its own, and it gives the game away. I guess it's not just SpongeBob's house being destroyed in this episode. Plankton manages to use this mayhem as a way to get his hands on the formula, but there's a twist.
SpongeBob, I always win!
Mr. Krabs?
That's right. I stole my own formula.
Basically, the entire thing was to see if Krabs could steal the formula easily if the roles were reversed. Guess stealing it isn't that hard after all. But you know what is? Listening to absolutely awful music. And that's exactly what the whole Bikini Bottom has to deal with in the episode Sing a Song of Patrick. Pat submits a poem to a record label so they can adapt it into a song, and when he wins, he has his own record that he can play anytime, any place. Like here in SpongeBob's house. Just a warning, this may be the worst song you've ever heard.
My mommy needed bread. It tastes like beans and bacon and smells like it's been dead. Writing stuff is hard, so I use.
The song is so bad that SpongeBob's house literally starts melting. The boys take the tape down to the local radio station but are obviously kicked out, so SpongeBob comes up with another way to get Pat's song on the airwaves.
Twinkle, twinkle, Patrick star. I made myself a sandwich.
And that's enough of that. Man, imagine living in Bikini Bottom and having to put up with that racket. Anyway, SpongeBob's house has had more happen to it than strictly damage, like the time it was turned into a makeshift restaurant. In Band in Bikini Bottom, the Krusty Krab is shut down by Miss Gristlepuss, the head of the United Organization of Fish Against Things That Are Fun and Delicious. So naturally, Krabby Patties are banned.
Hey, don't matter anyway, lad. She can't close us down.
She closed us down. I'm ruined.
With Krabs' pockets looking pretty empty, he hatches a plan to turn SpongeBob's pineapple into a pop-up Krusty Krab, which sure sounds like extortion, but this will probably be SpongeBob's dream come true.
So, would you like to secret size that for $2 more?
Actually, though, SpongeBob isn't having a blast. He knows that what they're doing is technically breaking the law.
Doing under the table.
If Krabby Patties are illegal now, aren't we breaking the law?
There's an old saying, lad. What doesn't kill you usually succeeds in a second attempt.
Oh yeah, that old saying. Plankton, meanwhile, finds out about SpongeBob's secret Krusty Krab and reports him to the police.
That's my girl.
What are you doing?
Having some lunch?
Unhand that sandwich at once!
Let's Gristlepuss! Look out!
With Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob looking like they're off to prison, they beg Miss Gristlepuss to let them go, but she's hardly the type to show any mercy. Well, that is until she sees her police chief husband chowing down on a forbidden patty. While running to scold her husband, she falls and ends up tasting a patty for the first time, and you know what they say, the only people who don't like Krabby Patties haven't tasted one.
I like Krabby Patties, I think they're swell. Can you not tell? Krabby Patties, they're so neat. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
So Bikini Bottom's best burgers are now back on the menu, and SpongeBob's house can go back to normal. Although it doesn't stay normal for long, because in porous pockets, SpongeBob's house actually, for once, gets a nice little upgrade. While wandering around Bikini Bottom with Patrick, SpongeBob finds a precious pearl which was spat out by a clam.
Patrick, the clam had a baby!
Not realizing how much money it's worth, SpongeBob and Patrick end up playing volleyball with the pearl. That is until a wealthy jeweler passes by and offers SpongeBob a bit of money to take the ball off their hands. Okay, well, it's a bit more than a bit. In an instant, SpongeBob has enough money to make Mr. Krabs look like a frackin' peasant. And one of his bigger purchases is turning his pineapple into a fully fledged mansion. It's not just his house that's changed, though. SpongeBob's whole personality has now become frightfully posh.
I said, go ahead, let's do it right now. I got too much hair anyways.
It's pretty sweet what he's done to the place, though. That mansion sure beats living in a fruit all day. But then again, it lacks some of that homely charm. Where's the TV or the sofa? Where's Gary? Well, SpongeBob seemingly doesn't care. He's got money to burn and all these new friends who are only around for the moolah. So I wonder what'll happen if, say, SpongeBob suddenly ran out of cash. SpongeBob has no choice but to sell his mansion and move back into his home sweet pineapple. So I guess you could say things go back to normal, which brings us nicely on to the episode where Squidward convinces SpongeBob to go completely normal. It's your typical day on Con Street. SpongeBob's screaming like a frackin' banshee. Squidward's desperate for him to stop.
There are two kinds of people. There are people that are normal, and
And then there's you.
After hearing this newfangled idea of being normal, SpongeBob hits the books to learn all about it and turns up to work the very next day normally.
SpongeBob,
Hi, how are you?
what's the meaning of this?
I took your advice. From now on, I'm normal.
SpongeBob takes the whole thing a little too seriously, he even trades in his pineapple for this boring old normal house.
And what the heck is that? Whose house is this?
Hi, how are you?
He becomes so normal that he doesn't even look like himself anymore, more like Smooth Bob Round Pants.
I guess the decision to be normal was more life-changing than I thought.
But the normality is too much for Mr. K, who fires SpongeBob for his new ways and tells him not to come back until he's his old, enthusiastic self. So normal Bob teams up with Patrick to try and get some silliness back into his life.
Talk backwards.
But no matter how silly they get, SpongeBob doesn't quite go back to being his old self. Well, that is until he sees normal Squidward.
How are you?
SpongeBob, you're back to your square shape.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be seeing normal Squidward whenever I close my eyes for the next couple weeks. And speaking of Squidward, he lives next to some pretty weird houses. I mean, a rock I kinda get, but how the hell do you end up living next to a frackin' pineapple, man? Well, we actually do know how. In the episode Truth or Square, we see what Con Street was like before SpongeBob's pineapple. And then we get to see how the pineapple appeared. As well as how it crash lands on Squidward's garden and Squidward himself.
My secret garden is finally done.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
And that's how SpongeBob's house was born. I mean, we had to wait until season 6 to find out, but yeah, I do feel bad for Squid. He had such a nice garden there. And it's not like he's had it easy living next to Sponge and Pat. Well, in New Fish in Town, Con Street has a new resident, and he's much more to Squid's liking.
Painting,
Painting?
playing the bassoon,
The bassoon?
and enjoying a glass of tea in my front yard.
Enjoying a glass of lager in the fire.
Squidward desperately wants things to work out with the new guy, so he tries to steer Howard away from SpongeBob and Patrick, especially as he left his old home due to some bubble blowers.
That would be the bubble blowers. Between the jellyfishers and bubble blowers, I just couldn't stand to stay in my old neighborhood anymore.
After hearing that, Squid works overtime to keep Sponge and Pat away from Howard, and in a madcap attempt to not let Howard meet the troublemaking twins, Squidward ends up bulldozing both their houses off the street and promptly off a cliff. Not exactly what you'd be calling neighborly there, more psychopathic really. Howard eventually meets SpongeBob and Patrick and realizes bubble blowing ain't so bad. And yet another dream of Squidward's is crushed, a little bit like SpongeBob's house. It's actually crazy just how many different ways SpongeBob's house has been destroyed over the years. Like here it is getting devoured by a giant Krabby Patty. And here it is getting wiped out by a crazy storm. No matter what happens to SpongeBob's home, though, he's usually got a good group of friends that'll rally around him. Well, he's gonna need them again. Because in the episode Home Sweet Rubble, his latest pineapple ain't doing so hot.
What could go wrong on a beautiful day like this?
Turns out his pineapple is rotting. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it took them over a decade to cover this plot point, but then again, he wrecks his house and gets a new one most weeks, so maybe his house is actually super unripe, but this one sure ain't. SpongeBob tries his best to keep his house together, but it's too late and the pineapple is slowly liquefying.
My door!
To try and fix his house, SpongeBob calls Pat around to take a look, but he realizes he can't really fix things either. So they both turn to Squidward, and maybe not in the way you'd think. Using Squid's limbs isn't gonna hold SpongeBob's house for long, so they decide to call up Sandy as she's pretty nifty with stuff like this. Oh, and seeing as Sponge and Squid should be at work, Mr. Krabs shows up to see what the heck's going on.
SpongeBob, what are you doing here? You were supposed to be at work 2 hours ago!
Hello? Anybody here? Hello? You guys know how to make a Krabby Patty?
No, but I know how to open a cash register.
He puts his money madness to one side and agrees to join the rest of the gang in helping SpongeBob with his house situation, but they all have their own idea for the design of his new home.
Firstly, every pineapple needs a solid foundation to keep it firmly in place.
Not exactly, Miss Cheeks. A pineapple needs to be mobile, with a strong hull attached in case you ever need to skip town unexpectedly.
Same goes with the interior design.
Yeah, but I like to watch TV in my TV room.
Well, this ain't the TV room anymore. This is your indoor garden.
But the sofa goes there.
Oh, I know. But isn't this better?
They end up making him a home that's kind of a mix of everything they want and nothing that SpongeBob wants.
So what do you think, SpongeBob?
Yeah?
It's,
Fantastic.
it's the...
I'm hungry.
It's an eyesore is what it is. But what about Squidward? Well, turns out they decorated SpongeBob's house over him.
I'm unraveling!
I guess SpongeBob's gonna have to finally move back in with his folks, but first, he's gotta feed Gary.
With all this house ruckus, I completely forgot to feed you. Here you go, buddy. Furnished pineapple in a can.
So you're telling me SpongeBob just has a house in a can laying around, and he didn't think to open it once? Yeah, I can see why Squidward's so mad all the time. Gary might have saved the day there, but there's actually a time he was at fault for some damage to SpongeBob's house. And it comes from the episode where Gary gets a new toy and he becomes completely obsessed.
Whoa! Mother always said, don't run with the broom.
But when his new toy falls into SpongeBob's blender and goes pinging around the house, this happens. Yep, Gary's toy causes a fire, so he races out of the house to find SpongeBob.
And so it's come to this. No home, no best friend, and sleeping under a bus stop. Hello, little nematode. Will you be my friend? Nattaboy. No, that tickles. Hey, my wallet.
Well, that is racing for a snail, but sadly, he's too late.
Come on, Gary, let's go home. Do you smell something burning?
So according to my research, SpongeBob has worked his way through 9 different pineapples over the years. The little guy's been through a lot, but so is Squidward. I mean, he's sick and tired of living next door to SpongeBob, especially when stuff like this happens.
I take it back!
There, my masterpiece.
So Squidward tries hatching yet another plan to get his yellow nemesis to leave by convincing SpongeBob that he's allergic to his own house.
Did you see that? Huh, wonder what's making me sneeze.
Probably all the barnacle dust you kicked up.
To further convince him that his house is the source of the sneezing, Squid sneaks in and loads his alarm foghorn with pepper. And as stupid as it may sound, it works. So with the house looking like the problem, Squidward decides to help SpongeBob look for somewhere else to live, and they cycle through quite a few different options, like a banana.
Who lives in a banana under the sea?
Or this pepper.
Who lives in a hot pepper under the sea?
But while house shopping, Squidward starts to fall in love with a new home for himself, so much so that he decides to cut out the middleman and move into the new place. As for SpongeBob, with Squidward gone, he gets the keys to Squid's old place, and it looks like everyone's a winner, until it turns out Squid's new house is actually a hidden rocket. And where does it come crashing down? But Con Street. And it looks like SpongeBob's done a good job of making Squid's house his own.
Now this really feels like home.
Now, homeless, Squid asks SpongeBob to let him have his old place back, but it turns out SpongeBob doesn't have much of an old pineapple left to go back to, because he gave it to Patrick, and he's using it for a snack.
Sorry, Squidward, but this is my house now.
Well, then, where am I supposed to live?
And that is the complete timeline of SpongeBob's house. We've seen him go from a pebble all the way to having it devoured by Patrick just now. If you guys want to check out another video as cool as this one, then give the one on screen a click right about now, and I'll see you on over there. As always, thank you for watching.